Don't delay. Get yourselves down to Parc y Scarlets for the end of the early bird season ticket prices. Ends 31st of July.
Should we start off just talking about George, because that front five, beefing up that front five, you'd have seen from the outside and coming in, is such a crucial part to the Scarlets achieving what you want to achieve.
Yeah, I think George is a positive signing with that goal in mind. We know that we need to improve consistency as a region, as a front five and as a pack of forwards. Like I just mentioned, I saw the Scarlets last year dominate sides up front and also get dominated up front. So it's that European competition that we need to become more competitive and aim to dominate up front. I think if we aim to get parity, that's all we're ever going to get. So we are going to aim high and we are going to look to develop from within, but also we need to add a bit of experience and a bit of leadership, which George is a step in the right direction for that.
Simon was talking about his YouTube clips. He gets over the game line. That's crucial, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a big, strong lad who likes the physical side of the game. He likes to carry. He's technically proficient as well. But I think he's that physical second row that we need to bring to the Scarlets, and I know he's keen and has already in training proved a little bit of that, and I'm looking forward to seeing him play now.
Is that something that you, as someone who was at the Dragons then coming in, were you involved in this signing? Or
Yeah, I obviously had a part of the discussion with the other coaching staff, and he was somebody we looked at in quite a lot of detail and quite like what we saw. He's obviously experienced playing Super 15 rugby for the Cheetahs, which to play that level in South Africa tells you a lot about the guy already. There's definitely a lot of depth front five in South Africa, and he's proved that level he can do it, and he's looking forward to the challenge as we are of this year's European group and Rabo season, and again seeing him put that Scarlet shirt on and hopefully be a physical player for us is something I'm really looking forward to.
We were talking to him about the Heineken and the idea he will be up against some of the best packs potentially in a rainy day and a bit of a bog, and that challenge seemed to be one of the things that excited him about coming over here.
Yeah, that's right. He's made that clear that the different competition, the challenge of the different competition is something he wants to put himself against and see where he's at, and obviously become a more rounded player for that. I think a lot of people make comparisons between Super 15 and Heineken Cup, and now George is in a position to give a very new and honest opinion on that.
Generally with the Scarlets, now you're a few weeks into training, the internationals come back fully next week. How's it going? How's it looking?
Good. Training's gone really well. The boys have conditioned really well with Brad Harrington and his conditioning staff. I've been impressed with the professionalism, and I've been impressed with the work ethic of those guys and the boys themselves in terms of what they put into training. We've had some really good technical slots with them as a coaching staff, which this time of year presents the opportunity to do a lot of technical work without knowing that you've got a game at the end of every week to prepare for. So that's been good. We have a week in France, which will give us another week to gel a little bit closer to that sort of team performance, if you like, and then pre-season games leading into an exciting first game, Leinster at home. So.
For that, London Welsh, obviously you'd have followed their progress with huge interest over the last couple of years, and that's an interesting pre-season for them.
Yeah, it is, and first of all, I'm thrilled for London Welsh. The issues, the problems that club has been through off the field more than on the field in the last 4 or 5 years, whatever it's been, have been very well documented, and I'm really pleased for the players that they've remained focused on the goal that was presented to them, and then they've achieved it. And I think Lynn as well has got to take some huge credit that Lynn's come in and pulled that together to make that final step. Made a semi-final last couple of years, but they hadn't made that final step. They've now made it. They've recruited a few players recently, which I would imagine will play here. The likes of Gavin Henson and people like that, which should make it quite an exciting fixture, and a fixture that is the last fixture before both teams play their first league game. So one that should have a fair amount of focus on it.
When you compare the state of London Welsh when you first went there, could you imagine? Yeah, it's all very well setting the targets, but could you imagine they'd actually achieve this over, as you say, a 4 or 5 year period? It's been steadily.
Yeah, I think there's been some good additions to the back room and to the off-field setup at London Welsh that made a difference. They've definitely pulled the club a little bit tighter together and have probably made the best of resources, or solved some of the problems with the lack of resources. But the key there is the spirit of that club, and there's a huge tradition that you recognise as soon as you walk in, and as soon as you part of, you feel a responsibility to continue that tradition. And a group of players, the players I work with and the players now, which there's still quite a few of those guys left, who couldn't have had any more thrown at them, in all honesty, and have dealt with everything, and that made them, I believe, mentally tougher and achieve the goal that they've achieved. And the likes of John Mills is a huge part of that, and John probably resembles a lot of the struggle. He's seen it all at London Welsh, and he's come through now to achieve a goal that I'm thrilled for him.
First full game, Leinster, you get a really good idea how your season's going to go, maybe in that opening Rabo game.
Yeah, it's a long season. I think it's a season where you need a squad. You need to develop a squad, not just a team, if that makes sense. And I think we'll have some of our internationals that will be back by then and would have perhaps managed to play a little bit of rugby, and others that wouldn't have. So it'll still be about gelling as a squad, and I don't think Leinster will be any different. I think they'll have probably a mix of the two as well, and we'll find out on the day where we are. And for me, it's my first, be my first home game, my first game in the Rabo for the Scarlets, and something I'm really looking forward to.
And looking further ahead, just to the LV, particularly with your sort of under-20s hat on as well, it's a much maligned competition, but it is where perhaps you can look at maybe some of the under-20s will come through for that first game and Leinster on, but the LV is going to be the first major test for a large group of those players, is it?
I think the LV always gives the opportunity to play younger pros, perhaps some academy boys that have earned their opportunity, or maybe some squad members who haven't necessarily played a huge amount of rugby. We will learn a bit from that competition. I think it's striking a balance between, as I said before, giving players an opportunity to play for the region, but also those players understanding that they've earned that and not been handed it on a plate. I get slightly concerned of a conveyor belt system, next cab on the rank, where players are sat there thinking, when's my chance? Well, you need to earn your chance, and like I've also said before, I think that develops a hard-nosed regional and Welsh mindset then, that we've got to earn our opportunities and go on a pitch and earn our wins.
That group, and maybe is it something the Scarlets take that competition a bit more seriously? Look at the record over the last few years, and that group just seems to build up to a big game against Leicester at the end.
Yeah, I think credit to the Scarlets. They've been a region that have produced numbers of Welsh qualified youngsters that come through and gone on to bigger and better things. And I think that's where they've had a bit of success in the LV, is they still managed some of their senior pros who perhaps needed a week off or needed a break, and they put in youngsters that proved to be good enough, and that's the difference. I think there's a huge difference between chucking a youngster out there for the sake of it, or chucking a youngster out there who's earned it and is ready to go and play that level of rugby. And I think what I've seen here is a system that gives players the opportunity when they're ready, and they have proved. I mean, we could list them here, couldn't we, the numbers that have come through, and how many young Scarlets players are now playing for Wales.